I'm going live on YouTube. Let's see if that one will work too.
Okay. Why is Splendor in attendance? Why is she not on panel?
I think I moved that before. She's on panel now.
She's not. She's on.
Yeah, she's on
attendee. Freeborn, you have to improve your light situation. I can see light from behind you. What you should do is to face that light.
All right.
So we're on YouTube live now.
If there's a window, just open the window and face the window. Turn your computer the other way and face the window.
Okay.
When it starts, it's 11, is it? It starts is 11 or 1. It's 1, Abi. Okay, you're live on YouTube.
Yeah. 11, yeah. 40 more minutes.
11,
40 minutes more.
11 or 1?
Yeah.
Okay, make me a go bath.
Yes, another one.
Your system is we are live on Facebook and YouTube. You have an additional code. Yeah. I think I'm saying so.
I can get so caught up in business and my to-do list.
Find myself in times of trouble. Mother Mary comes to me. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be.
So that comment again.
Oh, darkness, she is standing right in front of God. Speaking words of
Ready?
let it be, let it be, let it be, oh, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken hearted people living down the road, there will be an answer, let it be.
The powerful like the peace. I decree.
There's a light that shines on me. Trial till tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of your voice. It comes to me. The words of so let it be.
This piece.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, comrades.
These women have never held.
A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D. In the morning. New Nivea body oil in lotion. Precious Nivea oils are deeply moist.
Good afternoon. I hope I can be heard. Is my volume okay? Hello. Please, can the host help me confirm? Is my volume okay?
Yeah, that's good.
Are you live on YouTube?
Yeah, live on YouTube. Check it out.
Out of Facebook. Facebook is a better option.
It looks like it can only allow one streaming at a time. YouTube or Facebook.
We can share it from our individual accounts to Facebook.
Okay, that's good.
I'll take it out here.
Hearing this thing. Hello, Mr. Isaac.
Yeah,
How are you?
I'm good.
Okay, both of us are in the same room. Will it create feedback?
You and Phil?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think so. Let's.
Can we test?
Yeah, let's test it and see.
Okay. She's just going on. I'm already on. Money, what do we do? She has the same last name as me. She has my last name. Tell her that Makri is on the line. Let's see if she knows me.
Where's Phil? Phil.
They're calling you. Yeah. Hi, how are you? You here?
Here's your video.
Can't talk about leadership without talking about the qualities that annoys me about our politicians is that they make all sorts of promises during while they're politicking. And once they get off the soapbox and they've won the election, they don't realize that governance starts. And they're there to serve the people. So, with that in mind, I think they should have, I think that our no? Hello, how are you? How come I'm not hearing you?
I just unmuted myself.
I can hear you faintly. Is it echoing? Echoing. Can you shift the chair that way? Let me help you.
No, don't worry.
Or should I shift that? Oh no, it's really echoing. that we found out. Let's see what we can do.
Isaac,
Yeah,
can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so it's echoing, is it?
It's about to start, Garo.
It's echoing.
No.
It's not echoing.
But it's echoing for us.
Yeah, this is echoing now.
It's
I feel
echoing
like a fallback.
from data side.
It's echoing from that other side.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. We'll fix it.
We're about to start. We have
Yeah.
1 minute. 1 minute.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm in a meeting. I'll call you back after that.
1 minute.
All right, no problem.
To be on.
Okay then.
I moved it to my hand.
Isaac,
Okay.
it's time to mute everybody.
Hello. 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 It's not echoing now.
Yes, it's better.
Hello.
Isaac, mute everybody. If there will be mute everybody.
Hello. Is it still echoing?
Good evening. And I think that we are set to start.
Hello. It's still echoing even in here.
Can I ask the administrator or the host to please mute all participants so that people speak once we're ready? Thank you. Can the host please mute all participants so we can start? Good evening. Good evening, good morning, depending on where you are. Right, thank you very much. Okay, can I request us, I guess the host might be a bit busy. Can I please request us comrades to mute yourself if you're not speaking right now, and then when you're about to speak, you'll mute yourself, please. Thank you. To guide us through it one after the other. Again, like I said, it's an honor and privilege to be in this room, also an honor and privilege to be able to steer the conversation. This is week 3 of what has been an ongoing conversation about the Ijaw nation and the things we ought to be doing in terms of policy, in terms of direction, and actually beginning to check, like I like to say, where the rain began to beat us. I must acknowledge very profusely and respectfully the chair of this entire proceeding. It remains our father, the former president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, GCFR. He is the chair throughout for all of the proceedings starting from week 1. This is week 3. And week 1, we had a conversation around the role of the fathers. And he was our keynote speaker. Of course, he opened that conversation. And I'd like to quote something he said, which was quite integral that week. He said, the Ijaws are great people with a rich and diverse heritage, whose history of valor, enterprise, date back to many centuries. And he says, let us not live in despair of opportunities lost or dreams deferred. I think that's a great inspiration for us. The tendency for us is to look at the past and say, oh, so much hasn't happened and so much could have happened. But I think that leveraging on that conversation that says, yes, there were mistakes in the past. Yes, the past is here, it's gone, but there's a brighter tomorrow, and there is the resilience of the Ijaw nation that can enable us go forward. And I think that that's the conversation that we ought to be having. So he looked at the role of the fathers, and the entire conversation that in Week 1 was about that. The former minister of oil talked very, very, if you like, almost, I don't want to just use the word passionately, and I don't want to use the word berate, but she asked a critical question. She said, where are the fathers? Where are the fathers of the Ijaw nation? And that's a question I think that many of us are going to keep answering as we go along. But it just goes to the root of the matter of the family. And I know that further on in these conversations, we're going to be looking at the family as a unit. And then last week, which was week 2, we had a conversation around the mothers. And the keynote speaker was Her Excellency, the wife of the former president, Dame Dr. Patience Jonathan. We had other guest lecturers, Timibi Koripama Agari, and all the others. And one of the things that the former First Lady spoke about, which I think was very critical, was the role of the women in the family, in the community, and in nation building. And the fact that women continue to play a critical role, not just as people who can be in decision making, but also as the quiet voice, sometimes the unseen hand in directing affairs. And this was the point that she made very strongly. The fact of women as influencers. Women are those who can influence policy decision, can influence policy making. So she was saying, listen, over and even beyond the fact of women sitting and being there in decision making, which she admits is important, there's also the other role of women as the hand that rocks the cradle and therefore rules the world. Dr. Agari talked about an anecdote. Well, Dr. Agari, gave an anecdote of 3 Ijaw brothers who agreed to go into politics in 3 different parties. And she said it doesn't quite matter. But she was looking at the fact that they're in these different parties, and ultimately at the heart of the matter should be the interest of the Ijaw nation. And today we continue the conversations as we go into week 3. And for week 3, we have our mother, Her Royal Highness, Her Royal Majesty, Beatrice Agama, who's going to give the opening remarks. She's our special guest of honor. And then, of course, another mother of Ijaw land, Lady Anne Kyo Briggs, is going to talk about governance, confronting the challenges of the feminine temperament. And then we're going to have a panel of discussants, Dr. Patterson Ogon, Dame Julie Okadonli, and Ms. Data Amakri. And they're going to be looking at the role of government and what we can be doing. So this is how week 3 is going to go, where we're looking at what should government be doing and how can we influence those roles. I hope that we have a very interesting conversation. And as we're having these conversations, let's remember that the whole point of this is not another talk shop. It's supposed to enable us eventually drive policy and determine the way forward for the Ijaw nation. I'm going to very quickly turn over to Ebiakpo Ebisine, who is going to be reading the citation of the special guest of honor. Again, everyone is very welcome, and I hope we have a very productive conversation. Good evening. Ebiakpo, please go ahead. You may need to unmute yourself, Ebiakpo. We can't seem to hear you. Am I alone? We can't seem to hear you. You're unmuted, yes. We can see your voice, but we can't hear you. Do you want to take off you want to take off your headphone and try it without a headphone, perhaps? Might help us.
Is it better now? Can you hear me?
Yes, it's better now.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Permit me to stand on the existing protocol as I take the citation of Her Royal Highness, Mrs. Beatrice Oyete Agama. Her Royal Highness, Mrs. Beatrice Oyete Agama is an award-winning nurse and midwife who was trained in the United Kingdom. A renowned philanthropist, a woman leader, she is a Justice of Peace and holds the member of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, MFR National Honor. Through the course of her life, she has been deeply involved in social organizations, particularly those connected with the suffering of the masses and women, and has spent a considerable amount of her life championing and supporting causes that empower women to contribute towards national development. A seasoned industrialist, she is currently the chairperson of Nidelcat Nigeria Limited, an industrial cleaning, landscaping design, water purification and irrigation scheme company, serving a wide range of clients across different sectors. She has been an active member of various boards in both private and public organizations, where she has learned her insights and leadership skills. Some of her board roles include Member Poverty Alleviation Committee, Bayelsa State, 2000 to 2001. First female board member of Hysen Nigeria Limited, a subsidiary of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation and Chevron, 1987. Member, National Committee of the Dissemination of Information, 1986, on the evil of appetite. First chairman, State Commission for Women, River State Branch, 1980. Member, River State Directorate of Information, 1980. Member, River State Tourism Board, 1982 to 1984. Member, Bright White Memorial Hospital Board, River State Government, 1981 to 1983. Member, Radio Rivers Board, 1980 to 1982. Immediately after the Civil War in 1970, she co-founded the Ladies Philanthropy Society with the aim of rehabilitating young women who had dropped out of school as a result of war or who had been displaced by early childbirth. The society focused on empowering the young ladies with practical skills, which they could use to reestablish themselves as productive members of the society. Some of our initiatives included cookery and sewing schemes, which helped the young women to function in the post-war society. She served as the charter president of the Inner Wheel. She served as the charter president of the Inner Wheel Club of Port Harcourt, a philanthropic sister organization of the Rotary Club from 1982 to 1985. She later became the first chairperson of the International Inner Wheel District 912 from 1985 to 1986. Her commendable performance saw her subsequently being appointed the representative of Inner Wheel in Nigeria between 1983 and 1986. She was appointed the first president of the Resuscitation National Council of Women's Societies, River State Branch. She successfully hosted the 11th National Biennial Convention from 16 to 18 July 1986. She was later made a life member of the association in 1988. A two-time president of the Horticultural Society, Port Harcourt. Her Royal Highness, Mrs. Beatrice Agama, believes strongly in the working within local communities and her role as the wife of the late His Royal Majesty, the Ogbotom Edede the Benibe of Atisa clan, Yenagwa local government area of Bayelsa State, has afforded her the opportunity to meet with women from various villages in her kingdom, motivating and inspiring them to be self-empowered. She is currently the patron and co-founder, Bayelsa Women's Forum, and had previously served as a member of the Conservative Forum for the Ijaw Elders and Leaders of Thought. A lover of hymn and classical music. Along with her husband, she supported many choral choir. Now well in her 80s, Her Royal Highness, Mrs. Beatrice Agama, was born in Abari, Patani local government area of Delta State. She was married for 51 years to the late His Royal Majesty Frederick Abiye Agama, the Obatome Dede, the Benibe of Atisa clan, Yenegwa local government area of Bayelsa State, with whom she was blessed with 6 biological children, numerous adopted children, many grand and great-grandchildren. She is passionate about floristry, women empowerment, and community development. May I be permitted once again to stand on the existing protocol as I make welcome to the floor Her Royal Highness, Mrs. Beatrice Agama. Your Royal Highness, ma, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Can we have Mrs. Agama, please? I can see her without any image. Without a video, I can see her somewhere. Is there any technical issues with her? We probably have to move on if she's having technical issues.
Maybe, are you sure she has been unmuted? Because I saw a chat requesting that we should unmute her.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Isaac, can she be unmuted? She is not even in her video. There is a space for her there.
Yeah,
so.
We can see her.
She says she's logging back in now.
So let's go to the next agenda and get her back later.
Okay, perhaps we'll go ahead and proceed. When she comes in, we'll take her remarks. So very quickly, let me invite Dotimi Tawari to go ahead and take special recognitions. Dotimi, please.
Yeah, thank you, Ibi. What a pleasure it is to do this very honorable assignment. We welcome every person. We have, as usual, our brothers and sisters here, and it's really traditional. Then, Prime Minister for Housing, she's here with us. We have High Chief Denzel Kentede, Amago Kentede. We have my boss, Honorable Kingsley Kuku, is here with us. Elder Regent is also here. We have Bina Yudui, and the president of IWC, Rosemary John. We have Dean Julie Walker. We have my very elder sister and mother, Dr. Timi Porokwamo Agari. And also our sister, Dr. Desiane Allison Madueke is here with us, and Archbishop Doye Ghana. As we proceed, we will do other introduction. I know also too well that our guest speaker is here, and Q Briggs, our sister, the Amazon, and also the Esther. We have a lot of other person, but please bear with us to do other introductions. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Me. And I think we have our mother, Her Royal Highness, with us now. So I'm going to just go ahead and invite her
she's okay.
to continue and make her remarks.
I insisted.
Her Royal Highness, Mommy Agama, please, you could just go ahead, Ma, and make your remarks.
It's not your cat.
Her Royal Highness, you can go ahead and make your remarks. She's with us now.
I think you're not sure.
She's here.
Yes, she is. Isaac, could you check if she's on the panel view? Isaac?
Yeah, what name is she using?
I think she has not unmuted. She has not unmuted her microphone. So if she's speaking without the pictures, we can't still hear. We could see from the dashboard that her microphone is still muted.
She has not been given the panelist ID to get in. She has an attendee ID. That's the problem.
What name is she using?
Okay, can someone please sort this out? Can we perhaps send an attendee ID to Her Royal Highness, please? And then we can proceed and she joins us in. Is that agreeable?
Okay.
Okay, all right then. So we'll just go ahead and continue. And once we've sent that to her and have her in, then that would work. So I'm going to quickly ask Phil Crawford to go ahead and handle the next session. Phil is going to introduce the panel session, which would dovetail into the lecture presentation and then the discussions. Phil, go ahead. Phil, are you with us? Is Phil here?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, now
okay,
I can.
I don't know what's going on with my video. It seems to start my video. Okay. Co-host asked you to start video. My video is not starting. I don't
That's
know why
okay. That's okay. Go ahead and do the introductions. That's fine.
All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Such a pleasure to be here in week 3, and welcome to the panel that will discuss the role of government in advancing development, a new thrust of development in the Niger Delta. amongst the Ijaw people. And we have a panel here constituted of one gentleman and 2 ladies. So let me introduce Dr. Patterson Ogon, who holds a doctorate degree in political theory and methodology from the University of Port Harcourt. A 2005-2006 visiting scholar at Lewis Foundation Fellow at the University of California, Berkeley, United States of America. He was adjudged one of the best in the Green Governance Fellowship Program. Dr. Ogon has traversed both private and public sectors in his career and held different managerial positions, including Director, Government to Citizens in the Due Process and E-Governance Bureau of Bayelsa State. He is best known as a human rights activist and social change advocate. He is the recipient of several awards, including Award of Life membership by the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, amongst others. He is widely traveled, participated and delivered papers in several conferences, seminars, and other initiatives, both within and outside Nigeria. Dr. Ogo is currently an Assistant Director in the services of the Niger Delta Development Commission. The next member of the panel is Dame Julie Okadonli, who is a highly motivated and result-oriented management and legal expert with over 25 years of invaluable experience. She has top-notch managerial and leadership skills, as well as excellent analytical and communication skills. She has held many positions in government and in the private sector, including Manager, Securities and Exchange Commission, Company Secretary and Legal Advisor at the Nigerian Capital Market Institute, Head Abuja Regional Office of UBA Trustees, Executive Assistant to the Governor of Bayelsa State in the years 2007 to 2012. He is a philanthropist who founded the Julie Donley Kidney Foundation and an author of several books. Julie is the Director General of NAPTIP. Our third and final panelist is Ms. Data Ineba Jaja Amakri, who is a senior partner at DKJ Amakri, Obemi & Co. She's an accomplished legal practitioner who was a former director, youth, sports, culture, and women affairs of the Niger Delta Development Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our guest speaker for today, who is none other than Lady Anne Kyo Briggs, who was born in the United Kingdom of an Ijaw father and a British mother in 1952. She was, however, raised in Rivers State, growing up in a community, Abonima of Kalabari Kingdom in Ijaw ethnic nation. She was raised and grew up with a high sense of justice, honor, and responsibility to truth and accountability. She was raised to question what she did not understand or did not agree with. Who Ankyo is today is from this background. Her love and passion for her people and region, the Niger Delta, was nurtured in the creeks, which was accessible by canoes and speedboats. In over 20 years, Ms. Briggs has joined many organizations, convened and joined many protests in the Niger Delta to speak truth to government, to protect her people and environment. She has spoken at various platforms and has received several awards in Nigeria and abroad in recognition of her work for factual narrations of the injustice done to her beloved Niger Delta people. She is the president of AgapeBirthrights.org, an NGO which was established in 1999. She is the convener of Niger Delta Self-Determination Movement. If the environment she grew up in and the creeks she excitedly and passionately refers to as her playground can speak, they will tell her she is loved right back. She's affectionately referred to by different names and titles by the different indigenous peoples of the Niger Delta region, including Amazon Queen of the Niger Delta, Mother of Dragons, and Ijaw Vision Bearer. It is my pleasure to welcome Lady Anne Kyo to the podium. You are most welcome, ma'am.
Myself, okay. Thank you very much. It's a pity that I can't hear my my mommy Agama, but mommy, hello. And may I stand on all existing protocol. Now, am I to present, or I should keep quiet and wait?
I think you should go ahead and present, because we don't know what's, so we don't know why we don't have mommy here yet.
Okay, all right. I'm sure everything is okay, and we will hear from her. All right. The presentation, the theme we all know, is creating a cohesive platform for nurturing the seed of Ijaw national self-determined development vision. The topic I was given was or is confronting the challenges of the feminine temperament and strategies. And I will try, or I've made a decision not to just talk, but to actually make my presentation properly, if you don't mind. And I'm also glad that I'm speaking here today, not as a politician, but as an Ijaw daughter, as an Ijaw servant and defender of the Ijaw nation, yesterday, today, and even tomorrow. As Ijaw women, I do not think that we are about to start nurturing the seed. We have nurtured the seed that we're talking about, and we're in labor with that seed. And we want to begin the process of building an Ijaw nation for our own self-determined development vision. And that means that we are prepared to be part of the process that is going to build what is in the best interest of Ijaw nation now and for the future. Now, about 6 or 8 weeks ago, myself and Rosemary, the president of IWC, discussed this particular issue and agreed that we would hold a conference of just women. And we would, at this conference, take positions on very critical issues, which I will mention later, that affects the Ijaw nation. But we are going to take those decisions as women. And it was meant to be that it was an Ijaw outing that of a one-day affair with Ijaw women, and then these critical issues will be presented for the Ijaw nation. But I believe that we're doing everything as one now. So hence we have this extended 5-week presentation amongst ourselves, which I don't think any other set of people have done that. Now, Ijaw women, in my view, and having grown up in the belly of our communities, have lived with inadequate opportunities at all levels of economic and social participation in all our communities, especially and particularly when Ijaw women strive for political positions, for power, and for rights in government and in institutions. Therefore, my fellow Ijaw sisters who are outside the Ijaw nation, or in Nigeria, in Africa, and in the world, women no longer sit down and moan. Women are leading and making decisions in developed and strong, powerful nations like Germany, Denmark, Iceland, Belgium, Finland, Serbia, Norway, New Zealand, Barbados, and Bangladesh. Even today, we have a female who has just been nominated as the vice president of the most powerful country in the world, the United States of America. Whether she's Black or not, whether she's Black African or not, is not the issue. The issue is she is a woman and she is Black. Now, women, therefore, Ijaw women, therefore, going from this, are able and are smart enough to govern just as the women in these countries, as I have mentioned. Drawing strength from this fact, therefore, Ijaw women should no longer hide under the culture of outdated practices or even deities to deny Ijaw women our rights to participate in building an Ijaw nation that our grandchildren and great-grandchildren will inherit. Ijaw women must reject all and any cultural practices that are maintained to hold the Ijaw women down and out of the future of our grandchildren and great-grandchildren. We know the challenges we face that affect our capacity to participate in politics or decision-making, the obstacles that deny us equal and full participation in all areas of life. We must be ready to clear any rules or regulations of old, egocentric thinking or impositions that women can't do this or women can't do that. What women can or cannot do should be decided by women, not by rules and laws that are based on culture, ego, or ignorance that hold the Ijaw nation and our future back. Women that are not ready to reject these unnecessary barriers in 2020 can only blame themselves. The president of IWC, Rosemary John Odon herself, is a retired Nigerian Army officer. In 2009, when the position of president for INC came to the Eastern Zone, I was interested in the position because I knew then, as I know now, that it was and remains a service that I can render to Ijaw nation. A few gallant Ijaw men and women agreed with me and supported my desire to serve. But my desire to serve was opposed because of acts like pouring of hot drinks. I was denied the opportunity to serve the Ijaw nation. Who knows where INC would have been now? We would never know. I was told to my face that Ijaw women cannot lead Ijaw men. And I asked this question, where is INC today? Flowing from this again, Ijaw women should decide at the end of this conference to be able to come out with and for positions of the next IYC and INC presidential position, no matter the zones that it goes to. In Gombe, a young lady called Aisha is leading men hunting Boko Haram. She is commissioned by the Nigerian Army. When she is not leading men to hunt Boko Haram, she is a seamstress. This discussion and indoctrination of Ijaw women that we are our own worst enemy is untrue. It is a story told women by culture to control women. It is a lie and a blackmail aimed at the heart of women for the purpose of excluding us from contributing our best in communities, in governance, decision-making, nation building, security, development, and to stop us pushing for our interests as women or mothers and creating a better future for tomorrow. Let me say here that the capacity of a woman to serve the Ijaw nation should not be based on whether she is married or not married, whether she's a mother or not a mother. Her marital status as a woman is not a determining factor of her abilities to do well in any area of governance or service. Women are not competing with men. There is no need for that. All we must do is contribute our best. Sometimes our best is better than the best of the men. That is no reason to exclude us from anything in any area. Women, yes, are emotionally blackmailed to dislike ourselves. It works only because some women are selfishly accepting this doctrine. Men have this problem too, but women don't see it like that. The desire and rights of women to serve the Ijaw nation does not make us unfit wives or mothers. As I said earlier, we are not competing with men. We have the right to input our best in building a better Ijaw nation that our grandchildren and great-grandchildren will inherit. Ijaw women must use this moment to bring positive and effective change in Ijaw nation. Some opportunities have passed us by, yes. We were not in power or position of making decisions. At best, we were in positions to carry out decisions made by politicians. And women are regarded as what I refer to as the Gele Brigade. The truth is that after the days of our forefathers of the past, Adakaboro, of the initial days of INC and IYC, And after the death of Abacha, our political leaders did not achieve anything for Ijaw nation. Our people were appointed into positions that other ethnic nationalities have used to enrich their own people. Our strategies. Women should see our role in politics, not only serving on women and children issues, but economic and decision-making issues. Just like men, women have the capacity to be good or bad in politics, or to be corrupt, or to be hard-hearted. The difference is that women, by our nature, think outside the box, and in thinking outside the box, we think on behalf of our immediate and external commitments and communities, and see accountability as a responsibility and not as each for him or herself. Women can and should act more collectively than singularly. It is in the best interest of all that we do this. Truth and responsibility is the foundation of the Ijaw nation I came to grow up in. And women must drive this responsibility if Ijaw nation is to survive. We are in a country where all we have has been taken away. And unacceptably, some of our people are part of the program to destroy Ijaw nation. We must call ourselves out. We should stop making excuses for the failures and inadequacies of our people. It is destroying us. Ijaw nation should and must take a position on issues like restructuring and a new constitution. The constitution is against us. We can't restructure this country before 2023. The North have no intention of handing over political power, and any Ijaw man aiming for Senate president or president of Nigeria or vice president is deceiving himself and setting Ijaw people up to be killed. By then, I hope their own children will be old enough to carry AK-47. If we do not restructure and we don't have federalism or internal self-determination, and we are not prepared to leave Nigeria, then it is clear that Ijaws don't mind slavery under this northern government or the one that will be imposed before 2023. These are all my opinions, because the last outing, or rather the first outing, was pushed as President Goodluck Jonathan and my sister Diziani gathering Ijaw women and mobilizing them. As good as that would have been, that is far from the truth, and that must be made known so that they stop knocking our people for the wrong reasons. Now, when I look back now, and I recall the fact that I want to compare the looting going on in Nigeria today, I really fail to see why some of our people allowed themselves to be used in bringing down the late Alamesia. If you compare Boko Haram, the headsmen, religious and ethnic cleansing, killings in southern Kaduna, etc. And I've mentioned this because people think that they are insulated. They are not. Now, if we compare this to what is going on, I cannot stop wondering, why did we accept the amnesty? Nor can I stop wondering why some of our sons are wasting away in jails in Nigeria and South Africa. The Oka brothers come to mind, and Ibiwari, and so many other hundreds of our sons that are held in places that we may not even know about. And yet Boko Haram is being released into freedom. These are things that Ijaw people must consider, because these actions sets some people apart from some people, and some people are more special than the others. The richest men and women of Nigeria are rich from our oil and gas. Name one Ijaw man with at least 25% of the wealth of Dangote, or name one Ijaw woman with 25% of the wealth of Mrs. Alakija. Bring all the Ijaw women and men together who think that they are in oil and gas today. They don't own 25% of the wealth to build the size of Dangote's refinery. Today, Ijaw people are struggling for local content in Dangote's refinery. I am so hurt. Where will Dangote get the oil he will refine? And the owners of the oil and gas are begging for local content. In politics, Ijaw people have succeeded in pointing fingers at our own and destroying our own in favor of strangers. These are faults that we must accept and correct. When our people get in position, they empower others from other ethnic nationalities. Ijaw people are not in oil and gas business. Dangote and Alakija and T.Y. Danjuma and so many others are the people in oil and gas. I cannot name one traditional ruler that owns an oil well in the Niger Delta, not to talk of in Ijaw nation. I say nothing out of bitterness, but as a point to learn from. We must forgive and learn if we mean to move forward. We will achieve nothing for ourselves, for Ijaw nation and the future, if we refuse to live up to our name, which we are told means truth. Piracy and bunkering was heaped on Ijaw people. If others don't know, I know there are some here who know what I'm about to talk about. Most of these things led to the armed struggle, and women did participate in one way or the other. But when it came to the benefits of this participation that was started by men and ended up with us agitating for resource control, it led to Ijaws getting the highest position in Nigeria. We did not fight or agitate for the presidency, but God in his mercy allowed us to have it. People who cautioned me to be silent when I was the only woman marching along with Amagbe and Mike Igini, shouting, Jonathan must be president. When he became president, the people who told me it was not Ijaw man's turn to be a president pushed me out. Men who came to discuss participating in the Ijaw and Niger Delta struggle stole my ideas and made it their own. These are things that happen to us in Ijaw nation. It's not happening only to me. I'm talking about it as it concerns me because I can only qualify my own. I can't speak for somebody else because tomorrow I don't want somebody to say I didn't ask you to speak for me. It is true that benefits were given and some were shared, but some of us are still waiting for our own share. You see, the thing is, you can't say that some people did not carry guns, which was some of the things that were said about somebody like me. Well, today, look at where we are. Look at where Ijaw people are. Ijaw people are literally worse off and begging. And people are now ridiculing Ijaw people and saying that you had the highest office in Nigeria. It would therefore be unfair to me and so many others if I don't speak the truth. Well, some have said that Ann Kio Briggs is a beneficiary of President Jonathan's government. Well, let me say it here again. That's a lie from the pit of hell. I got none of those things people are mentioning. And if you know anywhere where I got those things, please say so. Now, today, from my own personal experience, I state here without fear or favor that Ijaw people must change Ijaw nation. Ijaw women are determined to change Ijaw nation. The way Nigeria is today, everybody is scrambling for himself. Every ethnic nationality are scrambling for what they can have. What people were accusing Goodluck Jonathan of not doing, what people were accusing our sister of not doing, are what people are doing today in those positions for their own people, and yet we're silent. So if we really want a change for Ijaw nation, it has to be a collective change. Look at what is happening in Bayelsa State today. From one election to the other, this is a process, a plan to destabilize the only Ijaw nation, the only Ijaw state that we have in Nigeria. And just as we joined hands at that time when Goodluck Jonathan came home to make sure that he was not further embarrassed by strangers determining who will become the governor of Bayelsa State, we must do the same thing now for the sake of Ijaw nation and for the sake of Bayelsa State. Right now, it is a known fact, the price of oil has gone down. The state governors, they may not be saying it, but the Niger Delta state governors, they may not be saying it, they are not getting as much allocation as they should get. And yet Nigeria is going on one way or the other, borrowing money from everywhere they can borrow money, and giving away, if you like, our future by the sort of contracts they are signing, and knowing fully well that the only place that the repayments for these loans are going to come from is going to be the Niger Delta, and that the Ijaws in the different states, not just only in Bayelsa, the Ijaws in Delta, in Rivers State, all over the Niger Delta, are actually going to be quite worse off. Now, if this is going to be the case, what is the position that Ijaw people are going to take? How are the Ijaw people going to survive? And this is why Rosemary and I held this meeting over the phone and decided that we would have this conversation amongst ourselves. And having this conversation amongst ourselves, that we must take the decisions that will be in the interest. And I'm really happy that our sister Diziani have made the commitment. She could have just presented her paper with all the backlash that she got, and just said she's not, and just sat quietly. But I like the spirit in her, and I like the fire in her. It's like whether you die facing up or you die facing down is a death. So that she's standing up, not only for herself right now, but for Ijaw nation, is a thing that I want to very quickly commend her for, and any other person that is prepared to do this, particularly as a woman. Because we women, we get the worst of it all. When no matter what happens, whether it's war, whatever happens, women are worse off. And with people like her and the movement that I believe Ijaw nation women are going to gather from this conference that we are having, I want to believe that we will make first an impact. We're not doing this for to impress any other nationality. We're not doing it to impress federal government. We're doing it because we have to survive. Our survival is at stake. Now, if Nigeria is a federation, then we must run it as a federation. Nobody is going to come and give Ijaw people federation. They have to fight for it. Nobody is going to come and change the constitution because it works against Ijaw people. Ijaw people must be prepared to stand up and say, we don't want this constitution because it is not working in our favor. Ijaw people must decide that politics as it is today is not favorable to us. Our brother, Timi Priest Silva, I have nothing against him as a person. He's my younger brother. We have not spoken, in years, but then we have not seen in years. So maybe if I see him tomorrow, we will speak, but we have not called each other on the phone because I don't think that we used to do that in the past. But the reality today is that he is, if he's hearing me, and I'm sure he is, the position that he has, he got it because he's an Ijaw man that is supporting President Buhari and a member of APC. That's why he got it. He wouldn't have gotten it if he's an Igbo man that is in PDP. Therefore, he did not get it because of himself. He got it for Ijaw nation. And if at this point, he is not able to, because of politics, he is not able to single out a few people by now that he can empower rightfully, not secretly, properly and rightfully. We have the Ijaw sons and daughters that are in oil and gas, but what they are doing is bending down to pick the crumbs. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but when you can own the table and the food on the table is yours, and somebody else is sitting there, and what you are doing is serving it and clearing the table, it is not good enough. It is not good enough. And so if by now, Timothy Silva is not able to handpick some men, some women from Ijaw nation and begin to empower them, then he is just as careless as others that he has condemned in the past. And this is just the truth. We have to, our people, what do you call it? Local content. That local content is in Bayelsa. Doesn't mean a thing. Does not mean a thing. What does it mean? In truth, the local content as it originally started is anything that is generated from the source. The local content is for the people of that place. But Nigeria have turned it, and our legislators were there, our people were there, our governors were there when these were turned around. NDDC is corrupt. Yes, NDDC is corrupt, but it's not news. We know NDDC has been corrupt from the day it was set up because of the way it was run. It was set up to run as corrupt. It was set up to run against the people for whom it was set up. Some of us know and were in the place where these issues were argued, and we know what happened. Today, the people, the only few people that were part of that process actually ever got to work in NDDC, like Patterson. The rest of us were kept outside and are still outside. And when political positions are picked on the basis of a party that is antagonistic, that is anti-Niger Delta, and our people are picked in that process, unfortunately, our people, like we are seeing, are also not able to do anything with the position that they have gotten for us as a people. So after this government is gone, what are we going to say that we have achieved for Ijaw people? And let nobody tell me that Timothy Silva has a plan. His plan is not a national secret. He should do it openly. He should be proud and willing to stand up for Ijaw people and empower Ijaw people. If he is not willing to stand up and empower Ijaw people openly, then he should not empower any other people from any other part of Nigeria openly. During the time of COVID-19, I was horrified and pained that the first place he delivered anything to, as the state's minister of state for petroleum, was it Kano or Kaduna State? For what? Is that, are Ijaw people there? Are Ijaw people there? Yes, he's a minister of state for Nigeria, but he's an Ijaw man. Is he a man from Kano? Is he from Katsina? That is why I cannot find myself in a position, and nobody will put me there, because if they put me there, they will fire me, because I will do for my people. They're doing for their people. They're doing for their people. You look at Amnesty. Look at Amnesty. Amnesty, until they ground it down now they say they want to remove it. I told many people, Rosemary, I told you, I said they are going to remove Amnesty, they're going to remove Ministry of Niger Delta, they are going to remove, what's the other one, NTTC. They're going to take it from us. They will first use our people to bastardize it, then they will take it. And there is nothing anybody can do. And when they want, they will also remove Timothy Silva, and there is nothing he can do. The best he can do is that he may have done something for himself as a person and some other few people that he has favored, but those people will not be majorly Ijaw people. So please, Ijaw women, the issue of restructuring, I am not an idiot. People here, I'm looking at people with a master's degree and PhD. You know very well that to restructure Nigeria is very simple and easy, because all we're doing is devolving power to where it belongs. Let every state cater for itself and not be waiting for how can Kano be taking 44 shares.
Come and charge. Bring my charger. You take it there and charge.
Of what Bayelsa is producing, and Bayelsa is taking 8 shares of what Bayelsa is producing. And then we say that we are in a country that we want to keep, and people are telling us that we are in a country that that we should be nationalistic towards that country. No, we should be nationalistic as Ijaw people to Ijaw nation. The way that things are, we are begging people who should be lying down on the ground for us to walk all over them, because there is no other means of survival economically in Nigeria except from the oil that is coming. We must insist, Ijaw women, we must insist on restructuring. Restructuring is not, forget all these men that want to go into politics, because their aim is not for Ijaw nation, it's for the position that they want. So we must restructure Nigeria. We must have a federated Nigeria. And if none of this is available, we must consider that we have no choice but to live. And when we decide that we're not living, some of us who have the ability will live, because I will not be a slave to anybody. As an Ijaw daughter, I will not be a slave to anybody in Rivers State, in Niger Delta, or in Nigeria. Thank you very much. I don't do.
Thank you very much, Lady Ann Kyo. I think that before we go to the panel conversation, can we please have an intervention of Her Royal Highness, our mother, Mrs. Beatrice Agama. Let's take her intervention, and then we can go back to the panel conversation. Your Royal Highness.
Thank you very much. I am sorry for all the ups and downs we have had so far. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen in the house, I greet you all, and I thank you for having me. I am here, I believe, because of the age. And always when I am called, it makes me go to King David's words in Psalm 90:10 that says, he tells us that the lifespan of a man on earth are 70, but yes, he may be strong and live up to 80, but it's all labor and sorrow. David, being in that bracket, David is very correct. But in spite of the labor and the sorrow, there is beauty and there are privileges. And this is why I have been called. Thank you very much for the privilege. And I thank God also for giving me the years that are giving me this privilege. And as you have heard, I have a passion for anything woman. Women affairs everywhere in the world. But when it comes to the women of the Niger Delta, the Ijaw woman in precise, my dimension of excitement and interest takes a completely different level. So I was so happy when I first noticed the INDG and IWC in the media, you know, or in my WhatsApp. Someone sent something they were doing. I got so excited. And now that I have had the privilege of seeing them and even listening to some of their aspirations and some of their mission, I am proud. I am proud of them. I've always been proud of women. I congratulate you, Madam Founder, Madam President. I congratulate you. I congratulate you. To be bold, to be courageous, as you have done. Oh, can you hear me? Oh, she's responding. Yes, I congratulate you and I thank you. I have always believed in women and I know that you will not let me down. The task before you is huge, but I believe, and it is commonly said, that the first step of 1,000 miles, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. So I know that you will make it. You have a mission in you, and he who has put that mission in you will never leave you. He will never forsake you. Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. Do you know, when I look at the Ijaw nation, I believe that we have a lot, and I thank God for giving us what he has given us. He has put us in different states. We are many in different states. And our culture, we have different culture. We have different language. But I believe that that should be our strength. If we bring them all to the table, yes, it will be like a threefold cord. No one can break it. Particularly when it's women. When women stand to say, yes, we are going to do it. My grandmother, my maternal grandmother always said this. She never went, even my mother never went to school, not to talk of my grandmother. But in the village, she would stand before the men and said, if you cannot wear the trousers, give the trouser to me, I will wear it. So indeed, I believe in what women can do. And I thank you so much for coming out at this time, a very critical time, to say, yes, we are coming out. I thank you, and I thank you. As I said, it is a huge task that you have. We are looking up to you. We are all expectant. Our hope is on your shoulders. But again, as I said, you will make it, because I believe in what women can do. Let me, just a note of warning, say this. Even though, yes, I believe, I want to let you know that this is serious. These are not playing times. These are times of seriousness. The world is moving ahead. The world is changing. We have to move ahead with them. We must change also with them. We must do that. Therefore, you need all it takes. You need all the tools that you need to help you achieve that. It's a global world. Even within our own country, there are serious matters to deal with. Many serious matters that cannot be said here or should not even be said here. But suffice it to say that I would mention that seriously, we in the Niger Delta, in the Ijaw land, we have serious matters like environmental pollution from the oil production. How do we tackle it? How do we tackle the erosion? Our villages, we are losing our villages in the water because of soil erosion. How do we deal with it? These are serious matters. There are serious matters too that we should. And now we hear that the demand for oil is even diminishing. They are finding ways and new ways now of having other means instead of the oil. So what next? What do we do? These are all serious matters that we need, to think about. So therefore, I believe very strongly that these are serious times and we have no moment, for unseriousness. I think Anne mentioned gele. Yes, I think after all, we are women. We should look nice. We should have our geles, but it is time to now move beyond the gele and do things as we should do it. Business-wise, we should do things. Thank you. Well, as I said, the task is not easy. You will be armed now with several arms in your hands. Naturally, women have been endowed with some of this. You will now learn to be a lobby, you'll be lobbyists, you will be motivators, you will be catalysts. You will also be encouragers. All this, I know that the Lord will always be with you and you will make it. Honestly, I believe I am asked to speak just to encourage you and to say thank you, thank you, thank you. But perhaps, since you haven't asked me to keep quiet, may I add one or two things. I'm going to take permission from you if I bore you with some repetition, because some of the things said have already been mentioned. But I think some of these things should be stressed for us to remember and keep remembering. I would ask us to strive for unity. We need unity. United we stand. If we are not united, we fall. We should not leave cracks for others, to come in. We should uphold one another. We should encourage one another. We should not be divided. This is something that I feel very strongly. And in fact, if I may say this, if I'm not going to annoy the respected gentleman whose name I'm going to mention, I don't listen to news, but things drop in my WhatsApp. And I saw that one of our daughters in Rebirth State, the law enforcement had sent members to arrest her or whatever, I don't know. And I saw Governor Wike protecting his own. Dr. Wike said, these are not his words, but my own. This is my territory. This is my daughter. No one can come here and mess around with her. I stand for my daughter. For that singular action, I doff my head tie, to Dr. Wike. And this is what we should all adopt. Your own is your own. I have always had that feeling. You are my daughter. I would flog you in my house if you do anything wrong. But outside, no one is going to touch you for me. We should keep our dirty lilies in our house and fight within ourselves. But we respect ourselves when we are outside, and we uphold each other when we are outside. And even in our politics, it is time we begin to play clean politics, not to slander our own when we are playing politics. This is not the Ijaw man that I know. No, it isn't. We should now begin to change. To be our sister's keeper, we should be our brothers. A lot has been said also on education. It cannot be stressed enough. But I would still want to say something about education. I think we should pursue education. Education in all its ramifications, we should do so. We should revamp our schools, we should revamp the environment. We should give continuous teaching to training and teaching to the teachers. As for the sciences, we should encourage the sciences. We should find a way to encourage or give incentives to the science teachers and also to the science pupils. We should do it. And then we should encourage the marine departments in the universities in our domain. After all, we come from water. We should rule the waves. We should encourage them. Education should also go outside the school. You know, our mothers, particularly our mothers in the villages, also need to be educated. You see, I have watched our mothers, and I find that sometimes they get intimidated with their youths, their children, their young ones, particularly the male ones, the youths, the young ones. We should now encourage and begin to teach them that an okra tree cannot grow taller, you know, than the owner. And, oh, can you hear me? Have I lost you? Hello?
Mommy, we can hear.
We can hear you, ma.
Oh, you can
hear you.
Okay, thank you. Because my screen went blank and I'm not at all used to this technology, so I got a little worried. You know? And of course, the girl child, I cannot repeat it enough. Must be trained, because when we train a girl, we train. I am not supposed to be talking much, but I still believe that we as women, we could do something. If INC is failing, we can now prop them up. If IYC is failing, we can do something to prop them up. They are our children, give birth to them. You know? And talking about the INC and the IYC, I want also to let the women know that there was a time when the Elders Forum was very vibrant and strong in the River State. The one in the River State, which we held in Port Harcourt in Senator Zwofa's house, regularly spanned across the whole of the Ijaw nation from all the states. And decisions were taken, and youths came to us for counseling. When the IYC had a problem, they came to us for counseling, and we went into them. When the Ijaws and the Chekiris were having their whatever, they came to us. They were a very vital ground. Maybe we should find a way also. And there is resource bank. They are full of knowledge, which they can also, you know, to give out to us. There was also Elders Forum in Yanagua, in Bayelsa. I also remember. But I would strongly advise the one of the national one, the one that spans across all the Ijaw nation that was being held. It could be held still in Port Harcourt, or it can be held in Bayelsa, whichever way, let us use them. We have resource tanks and we should use them. Also, members of this forum, there are so many brilliant Ijaw women who have passed the way that you are passing now. You know? So you have a tank full of resources. Seek, you will find. They will be out and they will be so glad, you know, to help. Something else that I would want to advise you, maybe you should make this body an umbrella body and let every Ijaw woman's society affiliate to you. In that way, you can disseminate all your information easily. Yes, I know we now have the phones that we have now, but we could still, use them. And you could hear their cry, easily too, from the grassroots. I suggest that you do it, but it's just a suggestion. Once more, another thing, please, if you will be patient enough to listen to me, is to plead with all of us to move forward. Backward never, forward we move. What has happened in the past has happened in the past. Yes, we can pick, it's a tank, we can pick knowledge from them, but we must not dwell in our past. We must move forward. I applaud my women once more. Bold, strong, courageous women. You are beautifully and wonderfully made. And I commend you very much for this, what you are doing, And I want to thank you over and over and over again. Like, yes, as I have said, you are all beautiful and you are wonderfully made. And that is the strength of a woman. In one hand, we are beautiful. On the other hand, we are strong. We blend all together and we will do it and we will make it. You have all spoken very well. All the speakers that I have listened to from day one to now have really made me proud. But if you don't mind, I would want to single out the father of our Ijaw nation. I hope he's listening, but even if he's not listening, maybe someone will whisper what I have, to say to him. I just thank God that we have him still with us and we have him with us. And I would wanted to remind him, we were once jointly honored, himself, Magnus Abe, and I were honored at Asaba. And when I stood to speak, I told him that we are so lucky to have one Ijaw voice that has refused to be silenced, and an Ijaw man that has refused to sell his birthright for a cup of porridge. This is something that we should all try to learn to do. Let's not be selling our birthrights, for goodness sake. We are an envy to the nation. After all, the golden goose is behind our backyard, So we should stand up, just like I heard. Unfortunately, Anne, I didn't hear everything that you said because we were struggling with the phone and how for me to get through. But indeed, why should we bow down before anybody else in this country? We should be the ones to have our heads high. Yes. So, yes. So now I thank you. I did tell him that, and now finally, I call on every Ijaw man, every Ijaw woman, young or old, and anybody that loves Ijaw land to stand behind IWC and INDG. Sorry, I haven't taken it. The brain's not so young anymore, I've not taken it in fully. So we should all stand behind them. Everyone, I plead with everybody that we should stand. And we must make this work. It will not be a failure. And I promise her, I promise the founder and president that we are behind her and we will be praying for her. Thank you. Thank you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you for giving me the floor.
Thank you very much, Your Royal Highness. You have said what we have on our hands. Thank you very much, Your Royal Highness. You have said what is no doubt a huge task, one which we must unite to accomplish. You have today shown yourself to be what you've asked us to be, motivators, a motivator, a catalyst, and encourager. We have been encouraged. Thank you very much, Your Royal Highness. Okay, going back to our panel. Ijaw is truth. And our Mother of Dragons has shared a world of truth here. And she also raised several questions. In her presentation, she talked about the power play of politics that has not been in favor of the Ijaws. I'd like at this point to ask Dr. Patterson, how do we undertake to make government change its approach in order to favor our own aspirations for development in the Niger Delta? Dr. Patterson.
Good evening, my elders.
You have 3 minutes to share your thoughts on that.
Good evening. When listening to Ankyo breaks, basically, I think it's very important that we do a bit of review on what essentially governance issues we are dealing with. Governance essentially is a series initiated to drive. I think the important focus for me, especially speaking into this discussion, is that we have seen the need to drive a renewed synergy, and that for me is of deep interest. And that for me is of deep interest. It calls to our readiness to build on the frayed ligaments of our communal bonds. Perhaps we have just realized that we are not like Jesus Christ, who surrendered himself to death because he was capable of resurrecting. And so we haven't really been idle, that is not what I mean, but just maybe we have not coordinated enough to get the kind of results that we need. So when we are dealing with governance, we are dealing with issues of participation and inclusiveness. And so listening to Ankyo Break, she talked about the issues of the INC presidency and the challenges that she faced. And I think she probably is looking at a more patriarchal system. And I can tell you that in a patriarchal society, we are all doomed because no one can survive the rigid gender expectations that is placed on them. So you need to give women that kind of opportunity, to also build and contribute, their own quota. Women are properly placed in the taxation of our lives because we find them as our mothers, as our wives, as our sisters, and as our daughters. And so in every system that they are, we should be able to give them that opportunity, to explore themselves, and fully participate to contribute their quota. And Kyo talked about economic issues and decision making, and which is also about the issues of inclusiveness that I talked about. The issue of truth and responsibility, and that women must drive it. Again, the fact is that sometimes you also need to show that interest, that you're willing and you have capacity to drive the process. If you just stand by and then expect that they will call you to say, come and be involved, then it becomes a problem at some point. So you need to show that vigor, and I'm quite encouraged by what the IWC is doing, putting all of us together, to see what we can do, to ensure that we get some good results. Issue of forgiveness and learning to move forward. Yes, is important. Extremely very important, because if what is key, and I must say this, is that we have not learned, to talk to one another in a way that encourages that deep understanding. And so if we want to change this very serious relationship, we must look at structures that involve ways that will listen to one another. Between and among individuals and structures, there's been a deep and pervasive mentality of force. Unfortunately, this authoritarian social behavior percolates the order, which even characterizes social interactions, even among ourselves, our communities and organizations. And so, clearly, we must look at how do we communicate among ourselves? How do we talk to each other? It was of interest to me when last week or 2 weeks ago, Mommy Agari talked about 3 persons from the same family who found themselves in different parties You know, and of course, that reminds me of the game of chess. For those who play chess, they understand that when the chess game is over, the king and the pawn go back to the same box. And in the Chess nation, it's always a very difficult thing because we get stuck to our party affiliations. You know, people forget, and it's very important that we continue to learn from history. If we look back, essentially, we used to have the NRC and the SDP. Or if you go back way back, maybe NPN and the other parties. Some of the key characters who were very antagonistic, you know, most of them against each other. You know, in the era of the NPN and the NNPC and the rest of it, you discover that when the system changed and then we moved into a new era and then we had the NPN, we had the SDP and the NRC. Some of those key characters who are quite antagonistic, you know, in different parties, found themselves in the same platform, you know, and we have the same situation even under the APC and the PDP. Some of those who were not, who couldn't see eyeball to eyeball, in maybe SDP and the NRC, are probably maybe together working in PDP or working in the APC, as the case may be. So, as a job people, I think that divide, we must continue to understand that the party platform is only a platform that creates opportunity for people. At the end of it all, you come back to begin to think of what is there for us as a people and what can we do to develop our people. And so that was why I talked about the chess game, that when the game is over, the king and the pawn, they go back to the same box. You come back home and begin to look at the opportunities that are there that you can explore, you know, to develop your people, to build capacity for your people. So for me, I think very importantly, the Ijaw first agenda is key. I listened to her when she talked about local content. So the question she asked basically is, what is the local content in the Nigerian content? That's the key. Because it appears that when the local content issue as we have at the moment is a Nigerian issue. But as local content in the real sense, what is there for us? What are we doing to begin to deliberately, you know, systematically build the capacity of our own people and create those opportunities that will engender proper development, build our capacity, and ensure that going forward, we have the resource, you know, that can fill every space, you know, that needs to be filled. So it's very important. Some of the key issues, the economic imperative, the issue of looking at how disadvantaged we are in the Nigerian context, and to say how we can work to ensure that the constitution is changed to favor us. All of those things can be achieved only if we are able to understand ourselves, understand the need to build as a block, and then not just end up discussing, but take collective actions, you know, systematically to achieve results. It's possible we can do that. It's possible we can get that achieved. But starting this process is something that needs to be sustained in such a way that as more people that are there, bring them in, plan effectively, and then create those opportunities and give responsibilities to people. It's important, we must understand that in governance, one of the key issues is about voice, legitimacy and voice. We can't talk about good governance without talking about legitimacy and voice. What are the opportunities that you create for a broad-based and constructive participation? Do we have such a system now? What are we doing to ensure that such a system exists so that our men and women will fill those gaps? Whatever gaps are there, we find and make sure that we are capable and then we fill those spaces. So beyond legitimacy and voice, you have also the issue of direction and strategic vision. As a job people, we've lost opportunities. We've had opportunities and we've had people in places, in opportunities, who did their best. Probably maybe we didn't also do enough in terms of coordination. But again, what is key is what strategic vision can we as a people begin to build on what we have? Let's not look at the past. Let's look at what is before us. Yes, it's important. They say those who do not remember the past, you know, are condemned to repeat it. But for me, what is key at the moment is that we need to look at our strategic vision and what we are doing to advance it. So leaders and the public must have a broad and long-term perspective. What is our long-term perspective? Can we start to build that from now if we don't have? And if we do, and we are willing to ensure that this strategic vision is pursued, we must begin to take responsibility and ensure that performance indicators are followed, keenly followed, so that at every point in time, you know what opportunities are there. At every point in time, you know what gaps have been filled, so that you know the areas that you need to build on, the effectiveness and efficiency that is required for those institutions to perform effectively. Beyond performance, then you talk about accountability. Have we been accountable to ourselves? If we haven't been accountable to ourselves, what actually happened? Where did we go wrong? And how can we amend that? You know, so it's important we look at all of this, and then maybe if we're able to put all of this together, I'm sure that going forward, the Ijaw Nation will be properly placed to have this kind of coordination and then give better results. The situation as it is now, even from the presentation of Anki of Bricks, is not helpful. It's disadvantageous to us as a people. And so if it is disadvantageous as a people, do we just complain or we do something? Do we, if I may say, if you can't light a candle, do you cause the darkness? That's the question we need to ask. If the situation is bad, are we attempting to light the candle or we are causing the darkness that has caused that's the situation? So let's build on that. Look at what gaps that have been there that are there to be filled. Look at the issues, even in terms of governance, that we need to do in terms of effective coordination that can give us good results. If we do that, I'm sure it will be better for the journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Patterson Ogon. You said something about leadership and perspectives to things, and I'm beginning to wonder, how do we select our leaders? How do we throw up the kind of leadership that we have governing us or that we have representing us in the Niger Delta and Ijaw? So my next question will go to Ms. Amakri. How are we choosing those who represent us? How do we hold them to account? How do we make them accountable? Dr. Ogon has said something about measuring their performances and all. What do we do going forward to hold these people accountable? Ms. Amakri, you have the floor.
Well, thank you very much. I stand on all protocols and I'm very honored to be here. Phil, I love that question. First of all, Dr. Patterson Ogon made a very nice analysis saying that he's comparing our situation with a game of chess. So after the game, everybody comes back home. The first thing we have to do when we're choosing our leaders is educate the electorate. Let them know they are voting for. There must be, I remember, I believe it's Robert Lowe, a British parliamentarian. He said after the Reform Act of 1867, I believe, he said that we must educate our masters. And by that he meant, the up and coming generations. They must be well educated so when they take over, they know what they're doing. When I think of Ijaw leaders, I think of, no disrespect, I think of, two-party system, and I think of infrastructure, money, voting. It's wrong. There should be criteria like, I call them the 3 C's. Character, as a person's character, good character, of course. Second C stands for capacity. Capacity as in, the capacity to take up such a job as a leader. Remembering that a leader is meant to at least serve his people. And the last thing is capacity, the competence. And when I think of these 3 C's and I look at any individual Ijaw leader, if they have 1 out of the 3, we're meant to be happy. It's not good enough. There's so many Ijaw people out there that have fantastic track records. Even if it's free education, even if an NGO can do this and have in different parts of Ijaw land, town hall meetings where they call the electorate, where they call our people, so that, you know, they are choosing the people they really want. Because on the day of election, if you're giving a voter 1,000 naira and 2 cups of rice, he doesn't realize that that has got to last him for 4 years. The average, let me not even say Ijaw, but the average lead Nigerian politician performs fantastically on the soapbox. They almost confuse politicking with governance. Once the politicking is over, you don't remember PDP, APC. Once you've won your election, there's something called governance starts. And that APC, PDP becomes intermingled. You're governing your people. And my opinion is that the panacea to all our problems, what will solve all our problems, is three little words. If each Ijaw person can remember these 3 little words, both the electorate, both the leaders, and these words are, put Ijaw first. Whatever you're doing, whenever you're thinking of anything, put Ijaw first. If you have that in the back of your mind and your people are being led by somebody that's telling their people that I'm doing it for the good of my people, you will get results. It's unfortunate human beings need to be led, because sometimes I sit back here, I'm not a leader in a political leader, but I have more common sense than some of the leaders we have. And why do I have that? Because I'm thinking about the whole. I'm not thinking about data and macro and what I can, and you know, if we're being intellectually honest, which is what I like about my sister Ankio, even though after she makes a comment, she apologized. You owe no apology to anybody. What the average person is looking for.
I beg. I don't ever remember apologizing, no, please.
No, I think you gave an example of calling somebody's name and saying you have nothing against a person. But
No. It's not an apology.
Okay, good. Because you see, I always tell myself, those people are there to serve. You know, once you're on the outside, you can't do much. But when you're in the corridors of power as a leader, you must remember these things. You have a good character. You have the capacity. You even have the competence. If the voters can look for those 3 elements in a person, because the average person, they go to all the grassroots and everything, the people try and get to know them, and it's all talk. But once you have that track record of compassion, integrity, you know, it's not promising to build roads and promising to build schools and promising to have the best hospitals. You have to have the foundation. I'll use myself an example, so I won't call any name. Can I deliver? And I mean physical deliver, not just speaking English. So you ask what goes wrong with our leaders? I think the beginning part is that we do not choose people that put Ijaw first. There's so many other influences that come in. The whole point of being a leader is to take decisions. What do I mean by, for example, good character? It's self-explanatory. Now, if we're all being intellectually honest, and we think of the leaders we've had, you can count on your one hand how many of them have the character that we're really looking for. I love the way Her Royal Highness, our mommy, pointed out something very important. As Ijaw people, we should unite together. And I owe no apology to anybody, but as soon as one of us gets in trouble, we are the first people to bring out the most petitions against them. Yes. I'm comparing it to if a northerner has any problem. I don't see the whole northerners going up and ganging against their people. We must love each other. So once you know that at the end of the day, this person will be your leader, give checks, give balances. And before that person sits on a chair, I was watching Biden. He hasn't even won the election, but he's there rolling out what he wants to do. The first thing I'm going to do is get rid of this, I'll make an effort to get rid of COVID-19. He has a plan. The average Ijaw leader, most probably, I mean, I may be wrong here. They do have the passion, they do love their people, but do they have a plan for the people? Not for a set of people, for the people. I move on to something as basic as the East-West Road. Nobody says anything if that project is never finished. But, you know, the backlash on that. I move on, and I'm talking points as a leader. If I was a leader, I would just, you know, even if I have other bad qualities, people will say, shut up, she finished that road. She wasn't waiting for anybody to tell her to do it. I think about River State, and I think River State is surrounded by water. But every time, if I want to import a car, I have to go all the way to Lagos. Why hasn't any of our leaders and all the leaders put their foot down and said, look, some of that money that Lagos State is making from having a port there, let's start thinking, let's do our own port. And anybody that doesn't like it, too bad. You know the kind of money Lagos State is making because of having a Papa port? All these things aggravate me because we have people that can do these jobs, but they don't get a chance of becoming leaders. I'm not being arrogant, but I can stand next to any of our leaders and advise him better than what they're doing. Nothing trickles down to the average Ijaw person. And our mommy made a fantastic point again that, you know, the world is changing. This big reliance on oil one day will be over. You make, I'll give you an example. You make suggestions like, okay, we're surrounded by water. Let's educate our boys instead of, you know, on the canoe level. Let's see if we can do proper fishing trawlers. You know, let's keep them busy. Let's make sure that they can, like 5, 6 of them can sleep on a fishing trawler, go to the deep sea, instead of taking our prawns and our fish and selling it on the high sea. Let's empower them properly. But somebody else will knock it down and say, you don't know your people. The next thing, they'll just go and, it's always negative. We are our biggest enemies. And then another thing, we are where we are. We have the results we have of leaders, I think, because, you know, no disrespect to our leaders once again, and it's not an apology, but no disrespect. I think we need a hard hand. It's a shame. I look at Rawlings. He doesn't have the education half our people have, but he used a hard hand. Maybe that's what worked at that time. Our leaders want to make a decision and is interfered by the big 5 or this or that. They make me. They make me coordinator of Amnesty, and I cannot do my work because this person is breathing down my neck, that person. So how do we go forward? You've got, if you want to be a leader, you've got to remember, have that character, have the capacity for the work. Even if you don't have the capacity, surround yourself with a fantastic team. In the end, you are the person that will get all the praise. And a good track record means at least, you know, you have an understanding of what you're going into. It's not an easy thing to be a leader. It's not winning an election. I must repeat this, politicking and there's governance. Politicking ends at the end of elections. I don't look at APC or PDP. I look at the legacy a leader will leave. So that's basically my point about where we're going wrong with leadership. I blame our electorate in the sense that stomach infrastructure voting has got to stop. And the only way it can stop is that if we can, from today, start to tell them you must know your leaders. It's not that you get to the polling unit and you don't even know who you're voting for, you know? There must be some kind of affinity between the person you want and why you want the person. And that person must come out with the correct programs. This is what he's expecting to do. That's what he's or she is expecting to do. But every election is the same thing. It's almost like I'm guessing who's going to be there. We must be intellectually honest, put the right people in those places. And then I think you'll see a big difference in what we call leadership. And then there'll be results. And the younger generation will not think so much about money. Oh, and then one more thing I want to add about leadership. We have representatives in the National Assembly. We have representatives, I don't know, governors and everywhere. But I want to put a test. If these positions are not so attractive, with all the perks and all the, immediately you finish, you'll get your money back from doing your own contracts. If you make it normal like other parts of the world, like what senators in America get or what members of parliaments, you know, are entitled to in England, etc. I think our own idea of leaders are over-pampered. I think that idea of grandeur and power, that word power is so, it's like a drug. Look for character, as in good character. It really pains me because, and here, my sister made a comment that, you know, she was part of the struggle, but because she didn't carry a gun, she was sidelined. And she has to take that. You know, these are qualities you look for in a leader, meaning that she has compassion, she has love for the Ijaw people. But because she didn't carry a gun, we need leaders that put Ijaw first.
Thank you very much, Mr. Murphy. We need leaders that put Ijaw first. To have Dame Julie Donley share her thoughts on leadership, governance, and politics in Ijaw Nation. Dame Julie.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Your Royal Highness, my beloved godmother, Ankia Briggs. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good evening. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I really don't know what to say because a lot has been said already by the distinguished speakers. My sister, Data Makri, just said a lot about leadership, governance, and politics. I want to just put it down to the Ijaw nation, you know, leadership, governance, and politics in the Ijaw nation, I want to say that first of all, we need to change our mindset. We must have a kind of national orientation and reorientation to change our mindsets, you know, when it comes to leadership, governance, and politics in the Ijaw nation. You know, I mean, the men think that women's place should be in the room and in the kitchen. So, you know, a lot of men don't have respect and regards for Ijaw women. They don't understand how powerful, you know, Ijaw women are. They don't understand how important Ijaw women are, you know, in places of leadership, governance, and politics. So we need to first of all start with that, change the mindset of everyone, including the women themselves. Some of my women, unfortunately, think that, you know, their place is to go and clap for the men, tie wrappers and gele, while at the end of the day, the men take everything. Now, even look at this Bayelsa State, for example, 24 commissioners with 21 men and 3 women. Where are the women? That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, you know, and this is what plays out all of the time. You know, it's not new to this government. It's everyone, you know, and it's such a shame. You know, for a very long time, the men have been deceiving us and making us to think that the women are their worst enemies. And I say, no way. We are not our worst enemies. They just be manipulating us into thinking we are our worst enemies because they know that there's, you know, there's strength in unity. When the women come together and we are strong together, we can make things happen. You know, so we need to change our mindset. We need to start, you know, including women. Patterson Ogon said something about the women should try to take their place because nobody will give it to them on a platter of gold. How will the women take their place when, for example, you have 21 men and the 3 women they just managed to give them slots? Let us first of all start by saying we are going to give these women 35% or 40% at the minimum and implement it. Let's start with that, because if we don't make a conscious effort to ensure that women take place or, you know, take part in leadership, in governance, in politics, I mean, we'll have a long way to go. Look at states, for example, where they have women at the end of affairs, they have governors, they have deputy governors. You find out that the states are doing very, very well. But check out states where women are, you know, very few. You can count them with the tip of your fingers. You find out that those states are really backwards and they are not doing anything. You know, so I get very upset, you know, when I see that women are not being empowered. You know, women should be empowered. First of all, we should educate women, you know, and stop these early marriages of women. Educate women, and the women too should self-develop. I'm talking about women because when it comes to leadership, governance, and politics, it's dominated by the men. The men they are all there, you know. And now, what kind of leadership do we have? Data Makri has spoken extensively about that. We're looking at character. We're looking at competence, you know. And you know, I've seen some of course, there are some of us who have, some of the men have all those 3. If I say someone like K3, they will say maybe because K3 is my pad, my paliman, you know, my body. But it's true, you know. But I can't really think of any other really for now. I'll have to think very seriously. Now I'm talking of people that have been tried and tested in the past. I'm not talking of people who are presently in governments for now, because they've not really stayed enough for me to assess them, you know, and make my own assessment of them, you know. So all I want to talk about is just women. I'm only concerned about the women. That's my constituency. For me, the women should be very active, play an active role in leadership, governance, and politics. And the men should not be so greedy. They must ensure that these women come together and participate fully, because honestly, where we have women, there's a lot that we can do. Now, I'm also thinking that free and compulsory education is very key. That's what we should first of all start from. Free compulsory education, very, very key for women, you know, and that will also help to make sure that they don't just get married off early. Better life for rural women. We should have programs like that. Now, the question I want to ask, how many of our, women leaders who are up there, the few women leaders, because we are very few, the few women leaders that are up there, I want to ask, how many of them have mentored a younger girl? How many have mentored a younger girl? Very
Have we lost
if
Julie?
we have,
Okay.
yes, I'm back. If we have, mentorship, from our leaders, one woman, one girl, one man, one boy, and we start from there to mentor them, into these positions, not thugs, not bringing up thugs, but bringing up proper women, proper men, mentoring them and making sure that we put them in strategic positions. I think it will help. My godmother, Anke Briggs, talked about my boss, Chief Timi Priscilla, but honestly, I can assure you that he's trying to, to put, Ijaws, in strategic places, not just in the oil and gas industry, but, in every aspect of governance, and leadership positions. And I believe that before the end of the tenure, he would have done so well. He's doing his best. He's done quite a lot, and I'm sure he will do more. We expect him to do much more than he's doing, and I believe he's going to do much more. No
and
one should
then Julie, you are a very good example of one of the
absolutely. And yes, and so many others, I want to say no one should be left behind. I'm very happy with my godmother, Anke Briggs, because each time we're at a forum such as this, she keeps talking about my brothers, the Oka brothers, no one should be left behind. People seem to have forgotten about my brothers. Nobody really cares. Just a few people have been working behind the scene. I won't mention names. I know who they are. And I thank you very much. I use this opportunity on behalf of the Oka family to thank you so sincerely. But I want to use this opportunity to say, please don't forget my brothers. They are not bad people. They are part of the struggle, and they will continue to be part of the struggle. So please, no one should be left behind. We should also think of having a truth and reconciliation committee to bring everybody back together, to speak the truth, to cry together, to reconcile everyone together, because that is the beginning of healing for us, and then we need to look at who are our leaders. We need to identify good leaders, people who know that will deliver when they are put in places of governance or in any political office. I don't want to talk too much, because honestly, when someone like my godmother has spoken, somebody like Her Royal Majesty has spoken, I mean, what else can I say? But to say thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dame Julie. You have spoken very well. We need free and compulsory education for women. That is something that we should really look at. I want to take one question from the participants. There's something that caught my attention here, which I would direct at Mother of Dragons. Pere Ere Ikidi says, the bulk of the problem, issues surrounding our leadership deficit is, as a people, largely resides with Ijaw elites, because discussions are at a higher level as to who occupies leadership positions at different levels before it gets to the point of the electorate. So the elites need to show leadership. What do we do to have in that decision-making place the consideration to put Ijaw first in determining who will ascend or who will occupy any position or who will represent the Ijaw nation in any position? So what should we do as elites? Because by the time we're getting to the point of electorate, who we need to educate to avoid making decisions based on stomach infrastructure. By that time, the choice, they're limited to choose between those that are presented to them. So what do we do? Lady Anne. Yes, please, go ahead.
Okay, first of all, I agree that the electorate, being ordinarily, the electorate is very powerful because the electorate should make the decision of who is going to win the election. But the problem we have, of course, is the fact that even in Bayelsa, for instance, or even in Rivers State, for instance, it is not the electorate that makes the decision. The party makes the decision to produce. And once the party produces the wrong candidates, it is finished for the electorate. So we as the people, like we're organizing this now. If we believe that we want to participate and make sure that the right person emerges, we will start now. I'm just highlighting that as an example. We will start now to inform our people about why they have to vote. We have not done that. And people who believe that they want to come out for election, you don't wait until 2-3 months before election. Then you come out and start saying you want to be governor. Governor of where? Governor of what? Let us be fair. Not all of us are politically hungry. I am interested in what, and we should be interested in what politicians are doing in our name and act accordingly. You don't send somebody to the Senate or someone who claims that you sent him to the Senate, and then he gets there and he does absolutely nothing. In Rivers State, in Bayelsa State, there is not a single bill since 1999 till now that have ever been raised by someone in the interest of Ijaw people, and that bill have even gotten to first reading, not to talk of second or third reading, except Farah Dagogo, who has now gotten there and is raising, he's doing what he can. These are the type of people that we need. We must encourage, we must break the glass on the table. That is, we are not shaking, women should not shake the glass. I don't expect that at the end of all of these things, that we will not come with a position that we will work with. We must come with a working document. Women must come with a working document that we would use. Well, like Patterson said, that women should not expect something to be handed to them. I'm surprised to hear that from Patterson. I'm surprised to hear that from Patterson because he knows that women are shoulder to shoulder, wear shoulder to shoulder with him. In the days of IYC, Ibiba Don Pedro, Annie Brisby, myself, and so many others that I can't quite remember right now, shoulder to shoulder with them, shoulder to shoulder. When Odi was bombed, shoulder to shoulder in the struggle, in the fight for Ijaw Youth Council and even INC. So for us now to be hearing that men are saying that we should, why shouldn't we expect that they will give us when they are the ones even stopping us? What are they saying? Julie has just said that the governor of Bayelsa State have appointed how many commissioners, and only 3 are women. Where, I mean, it doesn't, where is the percentage? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't even give women the legal percentage that even Jonathan gave to women when he was president. So don't say that women are just sitting on their backside expecting somebody to, I'm not the type of person that expects somebody to give me something, but that was the role, that was where I was reduced to. And I mention these things because they need to be mentioned, because women are coming behind me. And second time round, I'm not going to allow it to happen. But it is unfair. It is unfair the way men have grabbed things in Ijaw Nation, and it's not as if they're even doing a good job of what they're grabbing and taking away and not allowing women to participate in. So yes, we are not allowed to participate in. So we should expect that we will be allowed to participate in. And if we're not allowed, we will go in there and break the glass.
My mother, your twice is watching.
You go because me, I go send you, because if not before, yes, but now I'm grooming women, I will send in there to break the glass.
Thank you so very much, Lady Ankyo. I'd like to just give each of the panelists 1 minute to share one last thought before we wrap it up. One last thought, Dr. Patterson, one last thought. 1 minute.
Well, just to say that maybe I was probably misunderstood when I talked about women, not doing enough in terms of waiting for opportunities to be given to them. Women, even in terms of numerical strength, are more than men. I mean, so even if they are actually even able to put themselves together, understand themselves, organize themselves, they are even properly placed to take advantage of those opportunities. I'm sure that's probably the point that I try to push, and I wasn't quite understood. It's not as if they have to wait for. I mean, I'm happy, and Kate talked about breaking the glass. So if you can even break the glass, so what are we waiting for? That's the opportunity. Take chances. If you don't take chances, sometimes you miss it. The opportunities are there. So let's explore that. The men, I'm sure, are also willing to support the women, because it helps us in a way. I mean, give a woman that capacity, and of course, you know that it improves a lot, even in terms of the, in terms of the opportunities that the family gets, the community gets, and the larger society. So if we give women that opportunity, the advantage is even more for us as men. And I think that is the point. But going forward, I think what is key, I mean, the takeaway point for me is that I've asked a question. And like my friend will always say, do we mop the floor when the roof is leaking? No, we don't. We shouldn't mop the floor when the roof is leaking. So whatever we can do to mend leaking roof, to ensure that when we are mopping the floor, we are mopping the floor so that it's no longer wet. It's key. It's very important. So going forward, I've asked the question again. If you can't light a candle, do you cause the darkness? No, you don't. Let's think and plan ahead. Thank you.
Then Julie, 1 minute to share your final thoughts.
Yes, thank you very much. For me, I would say without women in leadership, governance, and politics, there can be no development. The men need to change their mindset, and their narratives, and to know that women play a very key role in governance, in politics, leadership, and stop intimidating or trying to threaten them to step down each time they see women that are bold enough to come out to want to participate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was straight to the point. I'd like to call Data to share her final thoughts.
Just my 3 words that I am very passionate about. Whoever the leader, woman or man, put your Ijaw brothers and sisters first in every decision. You cannot go wrong. It will trickle all the way down to the bottom, and you will leave a fantastic legacy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Lady Ankyo. Thank you, Dame Julie Okadonli. Thank you, Dr. Patterson Ogoho. Thank you, Your Royal Highness. You all spoke very well. I heard the words unity, I heard the word synergy, the concept of working together, joining hands, and let us not leave any Ijaw person behind. All of these go to underscore what we aim to achieve with this conference, which is forging a cohesive platform upon which we can build our next level of development, moving Ijaw Nation forward. You all have done very well. It has been my pleasure. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So at this point in time, I think I would call on Idim to take over.
Yeah, thank you very much, Phil. Let me invite Dotimi. Let me invite Dotimi to go ahead and take some more recognitions. And then after that, we'll go quickly to wrap up by Miade. Dotimi.
Thank you very much, Idin. While the program was going on, we had some of other invitees, attendees, and it's my privilege to also recognize them here present. We have Elder Regent Yumo, he's here with us. In Esther Goro, one of us here. Z. McBerry, welcome. Ambassador Eric Aworibi. All the way from the US, Dr. Pamu Igali, and Caroline Dokubo, Mama Luta, my colleague and friend and brother, Barrister Inoro Wills, Dr. Minimi Oseji, and Ayabimi Ellis. We also have Edmond Allison Uguru. There are others that I can't see you, so I've not been able to recognize your presence, but all the same, every one person is welcome. But let me quickly also mention that we have the INDGIPA here, represented by our CEO, Chief Denzel Kentebe, Isaac Tangod, one of the brains behind the scene doing the technical work, Tom Inkutaria, and Mebi Koromeme. The president of IWC, she's also one of us, so you know her, Rosemary John Ndoni. And also our brother Ketri, Honorable Ketri is here, our main supporter, one of the brains behind this program. Back to you, Senator Ibin. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dotimi. Very quickly, Miabie, can I ask you to please go ahead and wrap up and close for us? Miabie.
Well, thank you, Bim Semenetari. As always, you always do a good job in organizing us. It's a privilege to work on the same platform with you in putting this together. Very quickly, let me drag our minds as we summarize to the very essence of this program. The very essence, the very core of the program is to pursue a self-determined approach to development. We want to approach development from a self-reliant and self-determined approach. What that tells us is that we are tired of the complaints about external forces, whether those external forces are created by us or whether they are created by governments outside our system. We want to be done with that type of model of development. So this is to have self-determined and self-reliant approach. Our governments have become external to us. The local governments are not institutions of Ijaw people. They become external to us. The state governments have become external to us. They don't serve our purpose anymore, as we all know, and that's why we are complaining. So the model should be, the thinking should begin to change. The thinking should begin to change. How do we organize ourselves at our community level? In fact, it's even becoming clear that even our INC and IYC are also becoming external to us. They are gradually moving to the other side of the divide. They are becoming opposed to our aspirations. They are becoming, they are acquiring the attributes of the Nigerian state and becoming predators of our people. So the whole culture of governance and leadership is changing. So fundamentally, it is important that as we move forward, we put this in our minds that any model of development that we want to approach, want to bring on board, must be a self-initiated approach to development. And that is why one of the core elements of our aspirations has been to put a platform that coordinates our own institutions, the people's institutions, create a coordinating framework. What the partnership between INDG and this thing is putting in place is to have that type of framework. It's good. We continue to tell ourselves that we are looking for an inclusive platform, and we saw a lot of people saying that. Our sister, Lady Ann Kyo, said a lot about that, the need for coordination. Patterson of Gun mentioned it over and over again, the need for a coordinated platform. And everybody seemed to be mentioning it all through the conference. So that is reoccurring, and we are taking note of that. And that is also one of the essence of this conference. The essence that we need a cohesive, we want to create a cohesive platform that is inclusive and brings everybody participating. And if you look at it, we are now looking at roles of functional units in our system. The woman at the very basic, and the girl child and all that. We're looking for the man and all his role. We're looking at the government and various institutions so that we can find a framework to bring all of these interests together. Another issue that we are looking at is that it is not enough to have a framework. You cannot be working on the vision of an individual. A lot of people have said that very clearly. It is not normal, like Amakri would say, it is not normal about the vision of one individual. It is our shared vision. We want to create a shared vision and put that vision into a plan. We want to put that vision into a plan, a strategic plan, a 10-year plan. We need to get that into our minds as we continue to engage so that we know that we are moving towards a particular direction. And then, of course, a plan does not work itself. I like the word breaking the bottle. We don't want to scatter the table, but if it means breaking the bottle and shaking the table, we need to do that a little bit. And that is why we need a movement for self-determined development. We've been doing movement for political self-determination. We have not achieved much on that. We've created Bayelsa State, we've created local government, we brought a lot of 13% into the system, we brought NDDC, PAP, and so on, Ministry of Niger Delta, but they have not performed. Why have they not performed? Because we only attempted to bring resources in. We did not plan how those resources will be used. So we are concerned about a movement that pursues a plan under a coordinated agenda based on a fundamental of self-determined approach to development. That is what is coming out of the whole process, and that is what we are putting in place. And we have said that any society, like we keep saying, rises and falls of leadership, and we've been seeing everybody saying that leadership is a problem, and we need to deal with the issue and questions of leadership, leadership recruitment, leadership mentoring, leadership accountability, and so on. All that has also come out. We have also looked at the problem with followership. We have said that followership itself has become a problem to itself. We are all moving in a direction where we see followership responding in a way that is destructive to ourselves. So we begin to go into pockets, we begin to go into cliques and so on and so forth. So that unity is not there. And so you discover that everybody now begins to talk about unity, truth, reconciliation, and forgiveness as the basis to move forward. I saw all of that come out virtually from everybody coming out. We need to stand on our own, by our own. It's enough for Nigeria. We cannot sacrifice our people for Nigeria anymore. We are saying that, everybody has been saying that we cannot continue to sacrifice ourselves and our people for the Nigerian state. We will bring our own in, and our mother said it, let's whip our people inside of our house, but protect them, not to be harassed by people. When people see the unity with which we pursue our agenda, they will give us respect. Of course, people raise the issue of complete national orientation against our foibles, against our weaknesses, against our bad outlook to life, and so on. We need comprehensive national orientation, and that was emphasized. And some people put it in terms of education. We need to educate us on virtually every component of our lifestyle. Of course, organizing. We need to get out to organize ourselves from our clan level, from our national levels, and so on. We also need to attend to, even though these governments have become external to us, we are now beginning to say that political leadership must also be integrated into the plan that we do. So it is not only to pursue self-determined development from the point of view of creating our own plan, Whatsoever our plan is, we do not need one man's plan anymore. We need a national plan of Ijaw people down to the individual, the family, the community, the clan, and the entire zones and nation of Ijaw people everywhere, and let them be accountable to that plan. If we want a road, if we want a coastal road, let it be that we have a coastal road in the Ijaw plan and everybody walking towards that plan, not the plan of one individual. So that's the summary of what we've had so far. As for announcements, before I hand over back to Ibim, for announcements, the process continues next week. Next week, we are having our brother, Reverend David Ibiomia, coming to speak to us as keynote speaker, and our sister who is here with us, Amma Purple, speaking to us as a guest speaker. And of course, that will conclude the whole process of discussions. And from there, we will then begin to take the next steps of suggestions that have come. We're at the back end, we are working hard to make sure those next steps are tidied up, and probably we'll begin to hear. And our president will be coming, our former president will be coming to close the conference next week too. He will close us up and give us the general steers and directions as to what has emerged so far for these 4 weeks before we move into the more active working conditions, which is actually creating the workshops that will focus on specific issues that have arisen out of this whole 4 weeks and drill them deeper, pull them apart, to use the word of our sister, Desiani, pull each of them apart and come out with very practical solutions to deal with the problems that we have identified. Thank you very much, Sister Ibim. God bless you, and over to you now.
Okay,
Ibim, I give the floor to you.
it's not all right. Let me invite our sister Bina to take the vote of thanks. Looks like Sister Ibim is not online at the moment. So Sister Bina, please take your thanks.
Thank you very much, Phil. Good evening, my distinguished VIPs of Ijaw Nation. That is everybody listening. We have assembled here today to discuss the role of government, and the strategic focus of this 3-week conference, in which we will get a pathway to a better Ijaw Nation. I want to first and foremost start by thanking God for a very successful event. Our heartfelt gratitude goes to our mother, Her Royal Majesty, Mrs. Beatrice Agama, for making out time to speak with us today. She made a lot of points, but one stands out to me. She said, "Our hope is on your shoulders," meaning the elders are looking at us for results. Our sister, sincere thanks to our sister, the Amazon of the Niger Delta, the mother of dragons, my big sis, Lady Ankyo Opurum Briggs. The lecturer of the day also made very salient points, very many, in her fierce and fiery lecture. I want to summarize what she said as a call to wake up the Ijaw Nation. She's asking the Ijaw Nation to wake up. Special thanks goes to our panelists who have raised many points. Patterson Ogun said, if you can't light a candle, do you cause the darkness? Our sister Data said we must educate our masters and most importantly, put Ijaw first. And our wonderful sister Julie Donley Oka, the Director General of NAPTIP, who is showing Nigeria how a government agency should be run. We are very, very proud of you. We thank you very much. A very important point you made in your talk is requiring free and compulsory education for all women. This is my passion, and by God's grace, we'll achieve it. Let us thank the Ijaw Women Connect and the INDG for initiating this very important conference series. The goal, which Mayabia has touched on, is to, out of this conference series, create a 10-year actionable development plan for Ijaw Nation. We look forward to that, and by God's grace, we'll be able to achieve that. I want to again thank all the attendees. But as we go home, I would like all of us, each of us, to make a note of our personal takeaways from this conference. Because, you know, we all have different things that resonate with us. As we go on today, let us ask ourselves a few simple questions. How can I leave the Ijaw nation better than I met it? What can I commit to the Ijaw nation? How can I become a part of the solution and not the problem? We all have something to give. Our time, our talent, our commitment to funding areas of our interest. My esteemed brothers and sisters, thank you once again as we look forward to a great Ijaw nation that will only happen because you stood up to be counted. God bless you and God bless the Ijaw nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Music. Isaac, can we just have some music in the background?
Everybody for calling. Phil,
I know how to.
thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
Ketri, thank you. God bless you. Patterson, thank you. Big Sis Sam, Dizani, thank you. Bina, thank you. Mommy, thank you. Thank you, ma. Big Mommy, Our Royal Highness, we thank you, ma. Your prayers are very wonderful, and we believe that God has heard our prayers already. Thank you so much, ma. We appreciate you. We love you. We love you. Thank you, ma. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for participating. Thank you, Uncle Amagbe, for the drive, for the push. You've been an awesome father, a elder, a true Ijaw man. God bless you, sir. Appreciate it. I see Bixie's designing dancing. This is interesting.
I'm your DJ.
Dancing.
Uncle Ketri, when you see handkerchief, carry.
My name is Kingsley. See ya. Winnie, so you sabi dance. No. Mama, go there, no.
Wait a minute. Thank you, ma. Thank you, ma. Zoe, say so. God bring my auntie. Time for dance, Orange.
No, auntie, no. You me? No.
Yeah.
Mama, you're twice in the make I stand attention for you. Attention.
Now glass we go break. Oh, me I didn't say bottle. I say glass. No, not drinking glass. Glass on the table.
Me, I be woman.
No. We don't want you, I beg.
I be woman.
We don't want you. We don't want you. We don't want you, I beg. Mommy, good evening. Honestly, mommy is on my side more than yours. I'm so happy to see you.
From tomorrow, I go to wear earring, everything.
No, we don't want you, I beg. No follow. We don't want you. You want shift come our side now because we want play grass. We will break glass.
Hello, cuz.
Has to break.
And now we will break glass.
I saw Mommy Nyingi. She's presenting next week. It's like she has left.
Auntie Alanyingi has been coming for the past events. Even today, she came with her husband. All of them.
Wow. Eunice, thank you always for being consistent.
Thank you.
Eunice Tebra.
My neighbor one, my Atlanta neighbor one that they see for eye.
Kalaya. As this coronavirus don't come now, not to get escape for house.
It is well.
Because my American president, who I like past the one where I get for Nigeria, he had self no correct.
We did.
He don't even understand the virus before, and now he can't understand them. But it's too late. Right, not to let them accept themselves.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on, Rosie, for your consistency.
Yeah, Isaac, all of you. This was one of the best we've had in terms of open talks, people opening up fearlessly.
Wow, thank you very much.
Fearlessly opened up their hearts.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nobody held anything back. Nobody was saying, they make her not talk like this. No, people spoke.
Exactly.
Today I consist my wife with governorship candidate Awara, they attack themselves for shots.
I saw it.
In the grace. So you go come out 2 months before election and make you go bring them, then I go come vote for them. Madness, I they ask and I make him talk the thing where I talk. No fit answer me. Small boy, at the age mate.
Maybe the thing when you talk, we don't forget them.
This is the job I talk. I ask him now, waiting I talk. So make I vote for him because I made you bring him. Say because he come from my local government 2 months before election. So I go come vote for him. Say waiting they happen. Make it job people see that.
No problem. He will tell you early.
No, see,
tell you now, sir.
He job people see KK. You see them there for River State now. All then they do now for Facebook now, then they do that in job governance. You go ask them now, say make them bring one person. 20 now you go come out 20. 20
it's sad.
20 now they tell you now you go come out. Then say now Jonathan go give them governor. How Jonathan go give them governor? They no fit choose one person amongst themselves. Give Jonathan. They say make Jonathan choose amongst themselves. Then they crazy.
And that's why we are where we are.
Honestly. Exactly. How can you? I mean, that you were there in that meeting. How can 20 people? I said in that meeting.
I was there now.
20 people come out and say they want to be governor inside that one brick house. No, I tire. I beg. I tire for Ijaw people. Honestly, they are lucky. See, they are lucky. I'm 68. Like say I be 58. I for raise army and I for run for governor.
It's not too late. It's not too late.
It's late. I no want. Let them carry go. Make we just.
The only problem is say, you know, like Nigeria.
Who tell you like Nigeria pass me? No, let me expose you. I know they talk to you. I think you know say me and you the quarrel. I am not talking to you. No use this platform. No, we not finish any matter. No use this platform.
People unite. People unite. People unite.
Big sis, I forgive Catherine on your behalf.
You don't carry your own from Amagbe now. Come they join Kisri Kuku on. Mind yourself.
I don't for Amagbe side. Don't leave me and that's when I get three.
Now what?
No, but Anne is making a good point. We should start from today. Select one person with character, competency, track record.
Honestly. Not all of them more will sit down there.
How can 20 people from one family, one particular family pick up? That is crazy.
It can't work.
It can't work.
You will see what will happen now. Then they will say it's Ankyo that does not want to support the Ijaw government. I be as if I'm a fool like them. How can 20 people come out? Kalabari will bring 12. Okrika will bring 6.
You know my people.
Oh, it's such a pity, honestly.